Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Watch Me Wrench. It's your host, Mr. Wrench. I'm going to remove my old catch can setup, my LG Motorsports catch can, and I'm going to be upgrading. I don't know if I talked about this in some of my earlier videos. This whole build series got out of whack with all of these delays and issues. So I'm going to be removing that and I'm going to be upgrading. So let's go to the bench and I'll show you what I have. Alright, so here we are at the bench, and this is what I got. I got the new Mighty Mouse catch can set up. This has a few upgrades to it. They have different versions of these catch cans, so this is their like premier package. It was $377. You get a -10 AN breather hose and some AN elbows. So I upgraded for the -10, which is good for about 1,000 crank horsepower to help that engine vent and breathe. So this is the hose here, and this is a -10 elbow. It's a push lock. This is the -10 fitting that goes onto the valve cover. So that's a pretty trick piece. Nice billet aluminum. Then you have, what is this, -6, which will run into the intake manifold over behind the throttle body. You got a bracket here, another bracket, the filter, and then the catch can itself. -6 here, -10 over here. The filter goes on top. It's got the this is the same material you see in just about every catch can. This is what I have in my LG Motorsports. I forgot what you call this stuff. It's almost like Brillo. And then here's the drain. You screw it in for it to drain out. And that's it. The instructions are pretty simple. Hopefully this doesn't take a week and I don't run into issues. This damn car fights me every step of the way. But this should be pretty easy. So we'll see. Just showing you some of the instructions. Alright. Let me get to it and I'll be back. Alright, so basically to remove this LG Motorsports catch can, just got that 9mm bolt there. And then it'll free the bracket and I could just pull the whole thing out. That's it, just one bolt. Alright, I'll be back. Alright, so I took off that 9/16" bolt and pulled out the whole assembly. I will need to scavenge this little valve here, this check valve. This is so that boost doesn't blow out the intake manifold and into here, into the catch can. That's from Pro Charger. I just made an order to Pro Charger for some parts. Should have got a new one. I forgot. I had replaced that already like 3 years ago, but it's so cheap it doesn't hurt. Yeah, you know what? I'll order another one of those too. Alright, so that's it. So let's go back to the bench and let's start. Well, actually, the first step is we got to undo this wire harness, I believe it is. Just pull it out of that bracket. Let me get the instructions and I'll be back. Alright, so I'm going to pull this off. That's the first thing the instructions tell you to do. It's held on with that like push pin there. So let me get that out of the way and I'll be back. Alright, so I just figured out this actually slides off of that. I just took the screwdriver, wedged it in between, pushed down on this little tab right there, and that slid off. That's good because these things always break. So I'm going to carefully try to remove this. Even though I'm not going to use it, but I'm going to be careful. You never know, maybe one day I return the car to stock. I doubt it, but you never know. Alright, I'll be back. Alright, so I got that disconnected. Now you have to mount this bracket to the 2 holes that you have there, right here, using that hardware. Let me do that and I'll be back. Alright, so I got that mounted with the 7/16 inch hardware that it came with. A little tricky to get some tools in there, and especially over here, trying not to drop them. I disconnected also this breather line here from the tank to give me more room. Alright, what do the instructions say to do next? Well, they want you to put that on there. Alright, so let me get that adapter and I'll be back. Alright, so I got that valve cover adapter on there. It's got a lot of dirt in it. I gotta clean that out. Shit. I took a -16 AN wrench, this one right here, to get that snug and tight on there. Alright, let me pop that back off and clean that out. I'll be back. Alright, so I got the two bolts. You got two 7/16 inch bolts that hold the bracket on. The clamp that actually secures the catch can. After mounting this, the instructions say, after mounting this and putting this in here, the instructions say to cut the factory coil covers, but I don't have those. I do have the Holly coil covers, but I'll cut them up later. I might not use them anymore. We'll see. So I guess now I could slide the catch can in there and then get it situated and then run the lines and cut the hoses, and that's it. Alright, I'll be back. Alright, so I ran into a snag. So I thought I could just slide this down in there like that, but then the clamp, hits this side glass right here, because this protrudes out pretty far, and then the can is way too high in the engine bay, and the hood will never close. So it looks like the clamp has to go in between here, in between this fitting and the sight glass. So I'm going to have to remove this sight glass. Hopefully I don't screw it up. I'll use the AN wrench here and undo it. And then hopefully I could slide the clamp up over here, because this doesn't open up. I mean, it opens up just a tiny bit. That's about it. Alright, let me mess with this and I'll be back. Alright, so that sight glass came off. I used a 10 AN wrench. I slid the catch can down into place. Then I put the sight glass back in. It's a little bit heavy. Alright, so now I guess I just mess with the hoses and whatnot. Alright, I'll be back. Alright guys, so welcome back. So I have the 10 AN fittings and the 10 AN hose in place. I'm changing it up. I'm setting this up a little bit different than how the instructions tell you to set it. So the instructions kind of want you to have the can rotated like this, so that this port here is pointing like this, and so that this port here is all pointing like this. So kind of like that. But if you do that, then this hose and this fitting come across like this on an angle. It's not, I like things to look symmetrical, nice and neat. So if I put it going across like that, it kind of looks like an eyesore. So by rotating the can this way, it looks a little more symmetrical. And what I'm going to do over here is I have a couple of options. I could take like a 90 fitting like this, hook that up, and then run the hose almost in the same pattern into the intake manifold. Or I could put a 45, where the heck is it? I could put a 45 like this coming down and run the hose down here and come out, which is a little more discreet. Doesn't become such an eyesore, because if you kind of have two hoses running like that next to each other, it's kind of like, in my opinion, a little bit too much hose. It's going to become like an eyesore, or like the center point of the engine, the focal point of the engine. But I'm going to stick the 45 over here and then run the line like this into the intake manifold. Alright, so let me finish up this and I'll be back, and then hopefully we'll be done. Alright, I'll be back. Alright guys, so this is how I'm going to do it. I got the 45, the AN line, the braided line going to the intake manifold. I'll trim it once I have the manifold in place. I'm going to have to splice this probably here and insert a check valve that comes with the Pro Charger kit, and it's so that boost doesn't blow back out this way. So fresh air, the air will be pulled this way, but boost won't be able to be pushed out this way. So that's it. That's basically how I'm going to do it. Came out nice. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If not, feel free to give it a thumbs down. I probably would myself, but that's that. Alright guys, enjoy. See you around.